What's up, everybody, and welcome to Growing Up Gaming, your weekly podcast where we meet a new person of the internet to discuss their childhood with gaming and how it inspired their lives today. My name is Mitch Power. Again, thank you guys so much for returning each and every week to the show. Hopefully you've subscribed on iTunes or Google Play, or you've found the website, or you found the Facebook group, or you found it on Libsyn, or a buddy said, hey, you should check this show out, and you said, cool, I guess, so you downloaded it. Either way, you're listening, and I thank you very much for that. This week on the show, we have our guest. His name is Matt Knight. I met this man on Twitter, thanks to the help of Sean Capri. So he joins us to discuss his childhood of gaming and how it was a bit different, just because of where he started and everything isn't as common as some of my other guests, but I definitely appreciated hearing it. If you guys want to be on the show to share your stories just like he did, go ahead and send me a tweet at MitchPower1116 on Twitter or at the podcast Twitter page, which is at GUG Podcast on Twitter. Without further ado, let's get things started with Matt Knight. Do you remember what initially got you started playing games? Was it a family member, friend? Did you go to a store and see a kiosk or something? What was it that got you started?
Considering how old I am, I don't know if it's a matter of going to arcades from back in the day or having the Atari in the house ever since I could remember. So,
yeah, one of those two, right?
I have a brother and a sister that are 8 and 9 years older than me. So,
were they pretty big into gaming as well? Do you think like your parents got the system for them, or were they also into gaming as well?
Well, they probably got the Atari honestly, they probably got it after the video game crash.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that Nintendo wasn't the start of everything awesome. Like,
I remember the Atari on the television set, like young folks. You remember you guys don't understand. They used to have TVs that were like 10 feet long and 5 feet high.
What are you talking about?
You had to get up and turn the knob to the U or the channel 3.
Change the knob. Your dad, they didn't have remotes. You were the remote, so they had to tell, hey kid, go change the knob.
But, yeah, I just remember one of the earliest memories I have is, I have to explain it this way, is in the living room, the old television set. I remember when we had the old green carpet, which doesn't mean anything to anyone here, but playing Kaboom on the Atari 2600. So
that's awesome.
That's the earliest memory I have. Outside of that, and playing probably one of the greatest, most underrated arcade games, Demolition Derby at the arcade. The Williams version, but they used to have the 4-player version with the flat screen on top.
Yep.
So it probably came out, I think, I was looking that up the other week, I think it came out in 84. So.
That's cool. Yeah, that's the other thing, too, is like arcades were... It's weird because the thing is like...
back then.
Yeah, because it depends on... There's certain eras where arcades were just all over the place, and that was the it thing, and that's where arcades were better than consoles, which now... clearly isn't the case. Like, obviously,
the arcades are trying to imitate the consoles now.
Yeah, well, no, now it's sad, but arcades are trying to imitate your iPhone now, because now all the arcade games are coming out of
Ninja.
Crossy Road.
For anyone who doesn't know where I live near the Strong, which is the National Museum of the Strong Museum with the National Museum of Play. So it's like 5 minutes from my house.
That's pretty cool.
It's awesome. My kid's like, let's go, and I'm like, we have a membership.
Nice.
Everything takes 1 token. You get 5 tokens for $1. It's so you can sit there and play Dig Dug or Punch Out. Where you hit the thing, it's like body blow, or you can play Fruit Ninja. But
yeah, like I said, like arcades, it's weird because like obviously there was a point in time when arcades were a lot of pinball machines, and then there was your staples, your Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Galaga, all those. And then there was like just weird transitions where, for a while there, then of course you started getting your light gun games, and then it started turning into your DDRs.
I remember when Mortal Kombat was a big issue in the arcades because of its violence. So
yeah. Like Mortal Kombat caused a lot of issues within the video game world, just overall in general. But Mortal Kombat's still around in store video games, so everybody figured it out. Yeah, it's fine. But no, like that's the thing is like a lot. Most people, like, their first gaming experiences, a lot of people think home consoles, but, it's also cool that, people are saying, no, arcade. Like, that was where I went. I
can't remember if it was the arcade or the Atari, but
Either way, I mean, they're still around that same time. They're influential. Like, it's cool though that also your very first memory, like, period, involves video games. Like,
Yeah.
that's really cool. Mine involves riding my bike in a diaper. Just like I was a hillbilly out in the yard, just like riding my bike. That's like my very first memory of when I was probably like 5. So your memory
You were in a
cool.
diaper at 5?
Oh no, I was probably like in my underwear, like probably in my underwear. But I was a hillbilly. I was just like in my underwear, just little like boy underwear, just riding my bike. I don't know why. That's my first memory.
I grew up in a small town, so like you can go to the next town over to the mall with the arcade. I still remember playing that Demolition Derby, the 4-player version, with my brother and sister. And I always requested the green car, and I think that's maybe why green is my favorite color. But then you realize the fact that, you know, well, if anybody ever remembers this game, you know, there would be things that pop up like keys, which gave you points, and, you know, wrenches and screwdrivers, which repaired your vehicle. For some reason, I didn't realize till I was older, my brother and sister always, you can get the key. Yeah, it doesn't save you.
Did that, so when, obviously you were playing your brothers, so you had a brother and a sister, or just brothers?
Yes, both.
Okay.
Brother and a sister.
So were they into gaming as well, to where you did a lot of like co-op stuff at the house, or obviously you'd go to arcades and do stuff, but I mean, did you guys ever do any 2-player stuff together, or against each other, cooperatively, anything?
Not really. I'd have to beg them. One of my favorite games growing up when I was little, if anybody ever remember, like my sister and I totally got into this game, Mega Mania on the Atari. It was just the thing where you're something on the bottom shooting whatever's going across the screen, or sometimes they'd come down. You know, that and Pitfall. But my favorite game I remember when I was little was Warlords, which was a 4-player game with the paddles, which nobody's ever heard of. But essentially, each person would have 1/4 of the screen, like the top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. But there was like a key or something in the end, and then it would have like things built around it. If you remember, like Breakout.
Right.
So you'd have the ball would go, and depending on what mode you put, it would bounce off everyone's little thing that you'd slide across. It was just pretty much a square. But if your thing in the middle got hit with a ball, you were done. You were eliminated. It would like, and you were out. So
do the 7 noises that an Atari 26 made. Yeah, exactly.
And the screen flashes. Yeah,
exactly.
Same sound, I think, from Yours Revenge, but
I wouldn't be surprised, you know, because like back then they had limited things they had to work with, but. No, I mean, like, at least the funny thing too is I also think about it, like I said, the age difference, because you're all like, hey, let's play. And they're like, get out of here, little kid. I got other things to do.
Exactly. Plus the Atari was in my brother's bedroom, and which became known as the back room. So it was on the TV in his room. I had a different bedroom. But what's funny is eventually, my dad decided to move me into his room, put bunk beds, and made my old bedroom smaller for his gun cabinet and storage and stuff. But
okay.
Gun cabinet, that tells you where I'm from.
There you go, exactly.
But like, the biggest thing was really, I mean, I still remember beating E.T. for the first time when I was little, or watching my brother and totally duplicating everything he did to beat Raiders of the Lost Ark, which was officially the first video game I ever beat.
There you go.
But like, and then I remember when I was maybe 5 or 6, my brother got a Commodore 128, which happens to do 64 mode.
Right.
So to the date, whoever remembers that, because I couldn't tell you the time. I was probably maybe 5 or 6. That was probably 85, 86, right. Maybe 87. We ended up he got the Commodore, and I remember playing like Maniac Mansion, and then like the Mario Brothers port, not Super Mario, but Mario Brothers.
Yeah, Mario Brothers, like before Super.
I have a Luigi hat. I always picked Luigi, probably because green was my favorite color, even playing by myself. But like, there was that, and then my sister's boyfriend, when she was in high school, I remember one time I came home from school, and they're in my brother's room with the NES hooked up to the TV, and he's playing Castlevania. I'm walking, I'm like, what is this?
Right.
And it was like I think it was probably all downhill from there. That was it.
Yeah. I mean, like, that always happens though when you see, especially back then, because like technology now, it jumps, right? Obviously, but there's not that giant jump like there used to be. Like in gaming to go from like NES to SNES to SNES to 64. 64.
It's a jump, but it's different from going from boxes to something that looks like a person.
Yeah, exactly. You're talking about like squares that you could squint and go, I think that's a person.
Yeah,
I think that looks like a
it's pretty much like going from Pong to Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah,
I mean
that's back then.
Huge.
That was like exactly that was like the big jump. It's like now, I'm not saying things don't look better. You know what I mean? Like I have an Xbox One X, and yeah, in 4K it looks really, 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 really good. But also too, it's not like 1080p sucked. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, exactly.
It was amazing, and it's like yes, this looks clearer and it looks nicer, but that jump back then was huge.
You went from, I mean, you had to go to the arcade, you had to play Donkey Kong and have a character with a nose.
Yeah.
I mean, I played the crap out of that Demolition Derby, the 4-player mode mainly with my brother and sister. Rampage.
Yep.
Was the other one. And actually Dig Dug.
Yeah.
Those were my 3. So.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because, like, back then they had to do, like, different tricks to kind of, like, make characters look good. I want to say they did something to Mario where they put a mustache on him.
To give him a nose.
Yeah, to give him a nose. That's what it was. They had to, like, figure out a way to do it, and that's how they had to do it. Which now, 40 artists rendered noses in 4K, and everybody's fine with that. But, like, back then they had to get creative with the fact that they didn't have the kind of like technology to make Mario a full-fledged looking character. They had to work with 8-bit graphics. Figure that out.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's just amazing.
Yeah. So then as far as it goes, so, you know, were your brothers and sisters, did they kind of continue to play? I mean, you kind of mentioned like your sister's boyfriend in high school like had the NES and stuff. Did they kind of lead you in a way where they were kind of like, oh, this is what we like, and you kind of started liking similar things? Or did you eventually get to a point where you started kind of liking your own stuff separate from what they did?
Oh, it's totally separate. Because by the time I saw the NES in my house, it was probably 88.
Right.
It was probably 2 years old by then. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And then I remember my family got the NES as a present. I was the one that played it. Now, you know, I was 8, 9 years old, and, you know, I tried playing Castlevania. I didn't like it then. When you're 9 years old, Castlevania, it's not easy.
Right.
And then eventually, you know, like, I'll be honest, they don't even play games now to this day. I'm the only one in the family that does. I mean, my sister's kids, different story.
Sure.
You know, one of my nephews is a streamer and stuff, but like, I'm the one in the family that's hung on to it. I still remember, if anyone remembers, I don't know if you had the same experience, you know, back with the NES, before the SNES came out, the greatest thing that would happen was you or one of your friends, when it's their birthday, you'd have an overnighter.
Yep.
They'd invite 4, 5, 6, whatever, so many friends, pretty much their parents would order pizza.
70 friends.
They'd rent 3 or 4 games. Mm-hmm. And my best birthday to this day as a child, well, not that I'm a child anymore, but I remember we had an overnighter, and I remember we rented Baseball Stars for the NES, which is the first time I ever played that, it is the greatest baseball game for the Nintendo. Mm-hmm. So if anybody wants to say RBI baseball, they're full of shit. But
come at him, bro. He said.
I remember renting that and having like 4 or 5 buddies, and I ended up getting at that same time I got the 4 score, so I had like Super Spike V-Ball, and like 6 of my buddies and I were up all night playing that. And then my parents actually did a birthday thing to start. So it was Saturday night, and Sunday morning they rented out for the birthday at the arcade in the mall.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, when you're sitting there, this was the time when the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game was out.
Yes, such a good game.
I don't remember if The Simpsons. I remember thumping a shit ton of tokens in that. And then the game I really got into was I think it was called Four Wheel Drive Off-Road Riot. It was like you were driving in like a I don't want to say a 4-wheeler, but you're like in a dune buggy, because when you'd sit, it was a system where it was a 2x2, and they had the seats, and you would you'd pick the level, and there was like the totally like you're in the desert, so they have this guy named Shake a Leg, and he's dressed like the Iron Sheik. And like, but you would race and you're trying to beat him, but like you could shoot like these pellets that would slow people down, and when you got hit, your seat would kind of click and it made this loud sound. So
that's cool.
I think they ported it to the 64 at one point, but I don't.
Yeah,
but yeah, it doesn't beat that arcade experience.
Right. That was the other thing too. Is like some games in the arcade were considerably better than the console port. Because I remember,
Rampage.
Yeah, exactly. I love like certain games, for example, when they would advertise it as the arcade game, like Turtles, the arcade game, but they were trying to tell you this is about as close as we can get to that arcade
as
game.
It is.
Right. This is about as much as we can do with this console, trying to give you this game that you play in the arcade. But yeah, like that's, but also too, certain games, like you said, have that like feedback or have that, like for example, Time, I know it's later on, but Time Crisis. When you play those
with the pedal, and
you,
I remember watching
the pedal,
play that.
But also when you shot and it was like boom, boom, like the gun would click, and you're just like, this is awesome. And then you get the PS1 version with the light gun, and you're just like, it doesn't click, it doesn't do this, and you're like, oh, this is okay. I don't have to, pump a bunch of quarters in order to get to the game, or the end of the game, but that like. And also too, sometimes it's the environment around it too. DDR.
Oh, you're playing with someone. You got a bunch of guys sitting around. It's like, like especially playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or the Simpsons arcade game. I mean, when you sit there and I remember I actually beat the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game. I don't know how many tokens we dumped into that thing. Probably like $80, probably because
just an exorbitant amount. Right.
Those games were made to you get hit 3 times, you're dead. But
right. I wonder if that's like I'm sure it is. They have speedrunners like, oh man, I speedran this game.
Yeah, but they're exploiting glitches and
yeah, but no, but I'm talking like I wonder if there's people out there because there are some speedrunners. Like I noticed that there's 2 different types of communities with speedrunners. There's ones that are like, let's break this game as much as possible and glitch the shit out of it and do all this. But then there are the ones who are like, no, legitimately, like I'm not going to do that shit. I'm going to do this game the way it's supposed to be done.
Yeah.
But I wonder if there's like a community, which I'm sure there is, of people doing arcade games on 1 token. Like,
oh my God, that'd be impossible.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, but again, that's that type of challenge that some people love when it comes to that. So I wonder, like, I'm sure I could Google it and be like, how quick, has it been done? And I'm sure there's stuff that's been done like that. Cause I mean, there's websites out there that are dedicated to high scores and all that for arcades. So, I mean,
come on, I have a feeling you're the same way. I got to the point I could beat Contra without dying at one point. I tried playing it again lately. Didn't happen.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That also happens too. And I mean, that's one thing that like some people argue over because it's like, were games like, did we start to suck at video games or were games really that hard back then? And I just chalk it up to we were kids and had nothing else to do, so we just played it over and over. But now we're older and our brains, reflexes, sure.
Our brains are there, our reflexes are gone. I think games are easier. Mario Odyssey is the biggest thing to point to that.
Yeah, like
Super Mario World, you had you had the continues, number of lives. It's just,
games
they
now
like that
are far easier. Yeah, games are far easier now, and of course they.
Oh yes.
Some games
they hold your hand.
I was gonna say some games do, but I also appreciate a game like Cuphead that sure doesn't. Cuphead's hey, have fun with this shit.
I haven't played that. I've seen it. I haven't played it, but that's like, that's the draw to it. It's like it used to be. But people don't realize what it was like to. How do I beat something? I'm playing the first time I beat the original Zelda, which is my favorite franchise. It was like I remember playing it when I was like 8 or 9. I'm like, I just run around and try to kill things. But there was no way I was going to beat it. I didn't know what was going on.
Right.
And then eventually, like, when I got older, when I was probably 12 or 13, I went back and played it. And it's like, this is awesome.
Right.
There's so much stuff to do. And but like, there was no internet. You might be able to find a manual. I mean, I remember Nintendo put a thing out that had like Metroid and Zelda 2 and all that stuff. But like, you couldn't look things up. And what kills me with my 10-year-old kid is my wife and my kid have beat Mario Odyssey. I have not beat it yet. I just haven't had the time to play it. Just work, life, and everything else.
Right.
and my kid's spitting spoilers at me, and I'm like, just stop, don't tell me. And it's to the point, like, I was playing it for the first time in a while last night, and originally my plan was, you know, I wasn't expecting it every moon, because I know
there's like
it's Mario game. There's more after you beat it. I was aware of that. But, like, I was kind of taking my time with it, but it's gotten to the point now, it's like, if I play it, I'm just rushing through just to get through the board so I don't have to. My kid's still trying to tell me things. I'm just like, no, literally putting my hands over my ears, saying, no, don't tell me.
Yeah.
And
I have the same thing.
Then I come home one day, and he's like, if anyone who doesn't gotten to this point yet in Mario Odyssey, here's a spoiler alert. He's like, I was at Peach's castle. And I'm like, oh, shit.
Right.
And he's like, I was Yoshi. And I'm like, oh, don't tell me this.
Yeah.
He's like, and I looked like the old Mario from Mario 64, which he played because I have it on the Wii U.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
stop talking.
Just shut your pie hole.
Go away. You're grounded.
So I'm all aware. I know of pretty much everything, but I just haven't done it.
Yeah, like my son has, again, I chalk it up to just because my son is super excited about it. And I mean, in a way,
Yes.
like, he's only done it to me a couple times. In Zelda, it was quite a bit, because, like, again, I got Zelda, I got a Switch, I got Zelda, I was playing it, but I'm a grown-ass man with a grown-ass job and responsibilities.
Yep.
So I'm like, cool, I can play it once in a while. Obviously, you have free range to play the hell out of it. So
I don't.
Yeah, exactly. I don't. So then he would get to a point, he'd be like, oh, yeah, Dad, here's where you do this. And I'm like, stop. Shut up.
Just
stop. I get it. I love you to death, son. I want you to go away right now. Like, just.
And I'll be honest, I'm probably the only Switch owner that does not have Zelda on the Switch. I have it on the Wii U.
That's fine. Yeah, as long as you played it, who gives a shit, right?
Oh, I beat it, but I'm out of hard drive space to get the rest of the second pack of the DLC. So
yeah, and though that's the other thing too, is like my son got to a point where he had so much time that he beat the game, and then he's going through all the shrines, and then he's got all this shit. Yeah, he's got it.
I could ask, did you do all the shrines?
No,
I refused to go to Ganon until I did all the shrines.
No,
that was
final.
I didn't do not until I found all the shrines and did all the memories.
Nope, I'm completely one of those types of gamers now, and again, this attests to growing up. I'm one of those gamers now where I want to play a game, I want to beat the game, and if I truly give a shit about it, I'll go back to it. Now, I'm not saying I didn't give a shit about Zelda, but I was also to a point where I was like, I have a lot of other games to play. I will play and beat this game. I have not gotten rid of it because my son is in love with it. So, of course, if I ever want to go back to it, same thing with Mario. I went through, I beat Mario. I was like, I'm going to try to get as many moons without pissing myself off in each level. And then I got to a certain point, I'm like, all right, fuck this, I'm done. I'm going to the next level. And now I've gotten to the point where, like, if a game is like 10 hours, I'm so happy. I'm like, yes, I can beat this game. I can feel accomplishment with this. And, you know, but that's just me now because my gaming time is not unlimited. Whereas my son wants a game like Zelda that he can play for 150 hours and he's so happy and learn all this cool shit.
I dropped 250 into it somehow.
Yeah. I mean, again, like, but everybody has their game. Dude, in Halo 5, me and my buddy Jared, every day, just for whatever reason, God made it happen. Every day when I got off work, he got off work. Now, he lives in Illinois, so it was a time difference. But it was literally perfect to where, like, we both got off work, both of our wives weren't home, we just had an hour to 2 hours to kill every day, and we played Halo doing it. And, like, we played Halo 5. Do we have over 1,000 hours in it? Something like that? Like, yeah, we played a lot of Halo 5. But it's real. But again, that was like, it was just like for an entire year almost. It was just like, we have this time to just fucking play, and it was so
everything
fun,
just the stars aligned.
Yeah,
and it's like,
now that I'm an older person and I do gaming and stuff, it's more like I'll find the one or two multiplayer games that I will stick to forever, and then I'm like, cool, what single player games can I beat in like 10 hours? Like, I beat in the last 3 months, I've beat Wolfenstein, Evil Within, South Park, just because I look and I'm like, they're like 12-hour games.
Yeah,
I want to blast through these. Again, Wolfenstein, amazing. Blasted through it, got rid of it.
Yeah. I have an SNES Classic that's sitting in the box that went under the tree that is yet to come out of the box.
Yeah,
and
there's so much gaming in that though.
And I'm supposed to be I've never played Yoshi's World. like I never played the original Star Fox, but I don't really care.
Yeah.
But like, but it's like I'm supposed to replay through Final Fantasy 6. I just call it 3 because that's what I grew up with.
Yeah.
Which I beat probably 22 years ago.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, like, and that's the other thing too. For me, very rarely do I go back on games, only because I've gone back on some games, and it's bit me in the ass because I'm like, damn, this game actually isn't really that good. Like, it's happened before. I'm like, I've played games, and I'm like, ooh, nostalgia.
Are you trying to introduce those to your kid?
Well, the thing is, like, and it sucks because as a kid, they have no basis, right? So everything is cool as shit to them, right? That's the whole problem. It's like, to kids, it doesn't matter. Like, my kids were playing Mario, like, they were playing Mario Galaxy, but at the same time, they were also playing NES Mario. And they enjoyed both as much. Now, they didn't go... Yeah, the thing is, when you start getting older and you start forming opinions and critiques, that's when you start fucking up with games because you're like, oh, the game doesn't look as good. It can't be as good. Whereas they're just like, video games. They don't give a shit.
I don't care about... like, if you see my thing, I'm a Nintendo fan, so graphics don't mean much, but let me tell you what, the hardest system to go back to is either two hardest systems to go back to are the PS1 and the N64.
It sure is, because graphically it's just jarring. It's just jarring. Like, you go back and you're just like, whoa, this just... But the gameplay's good, again.
The gameplay's good, but it's just like...
Yeah, it's hard to look at.
But then you go back to... But I don't understand how it's easier to go back... I don't think it's actually the nostalgia. They go back to the Super Nintendo.
It's just prettier.
Or the NES.
It's more hand-drawn. I mean, it's prettier.
Look at all the games trying to look like Super Nintendo games. I mean, Shovel Knight. Yep. And even Celeste that just came out. And it's like... there's something about those pixels that it still looks good, but you go back to... You try to play the original Final Fantasy VII, and you're like...
Whoa.
Fuck this. No.
Yeah. Go back and play Tomb Raider 1.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's atrocious. Like, it's really bad.
Yes.
But also, I mean, I don't know. So for me, like, that's why most of the time I will get a game, play it, and just kind of get rid of it. I don't really hang on to games much just because I don't feel I would go back and play games a lot. But the games I have played, some of them, again, it depends on the era. Some games I'll go back and play, and I'm like, yeah, that's still good. I mean, dude, Mario World is forever good.
My SNES Classic to introduce my son to that.
It's forever good. Like, that game will never suck ever. Like, it doesn't matter. Ever. It doesn't matter if if it's VR. It does not matter if VR comes out and it's 4K in your eyeballs. Mario World will be good forever. But some games though, you go back and either graphically it's jarring, or you just realize it's just not that fun of a game. But again, in your head, because you got it for that one birthday. It was the shit, and you loved it. But no, it's not really that good of a game. But yeah, I mean, like I said, that happens. So you were mentioning the overnights, which of course I love the overnights because those happen to me as well. Yes. Except for my overnights weren't just like birthday parties. It was like, hey everybody, let's just stay the night at Gary's house and annoy his mom, and just plug and play games and get yelled at 3 a.m. to shut the hell up.
I could have that with like 1 or 2 friends, but like to have like 6 friends, that had to be it was a special occasion for that. Or for me and my friends, like I could have 1 or 2 guys spend the night and we'd go rent who knows what. I mean,
whatever was available in Newer.
Well, I grew up in Ohio, so small town in Ohio.
Yeah, the only problem is, like, that was the other thing too. Video rentals. Hopefully you got there early on Friday, because if you got there like 9 o'clock on Friday, you were fucked.
I knew everything was returned at 6 o'clock. And where I grew up, there were actually, when I was younger at that point, there was only one mom and pop video store. When I was in high school, the second one opened up, which I ended up working at when I was in high school. That's how I was able to beat. Geez, I totally dropped the name. The Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars.
Right.
I used to just
had it unlimited.
I could just after it was out for a bit, I could just take it home.
Yeah,
they didn't care.
Exactly. I remember I used to work at Game Crazy, which was a Hollywood Video. Like, they were just a rental chain, and like, if it was there, I'm just like, I'm gonna just keep checking, and you didn't have to bring it back to check it out. You're just like, I'm just gonna keep checking this thing out over and over and over and over.
The only rule they had is, well, I lived 2 blocks from that video store, so it wasn't a big deal. But there was like any movies or games, if he had it like brand new release, I couldn't do that. But
Yeah, that works.
I mean, I could take it for a night if no one rented it, but like I couldn't keep it for like a week or two.
We had a rule for before the thing was released because they got them early. We got to check it out for one night before it got released. So like all of like the new movies that would come out, I'd be like, hey guys, I'm going to rent this movie and I'm going to have it early. Who wants to come over to my house and watch it? But yeah, games we could do one night before it released, and you had to bring it back before. You couldn't check it out the night before release because they had to be in the store.
Yeah, it had to be there when it opened.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, dude, I remember those nights though. You show up late on a Friday and you're like, when you're younger, that videos, you're like, shit, there ain't nothing here. Slim pickings. It's like,
yep.
I guess we're gonna play this again. Like, right? I guess we ain't got anything else. So as you were growing up and everything, so obviously Nintendo kind of, like you said, favorite franchise Zelda, really big in Nintendo. At this point, I'm assuming your older siblings were just straight, like, not giving a shit at all. So then were you kind of like, were your parents
at least... Super Nintendo, I was all on my own, essentially.
Yeah, so that's what I was kind of getting at. So like when you got to Super, was it kind of just you, and were your parents pretty cool about you actually, were they encouraging with you playing games and things like that?
Yes and no. I got the typical, you need to be outside more. But at the same time, it was like, prime example, here for Christmas, here's Final Fantasy 3. You know, and, you know, it came out in October, and here's Final Fantasy 3. But, like, it was a blend. It was like, you need to be outside more, but it was like, yeah, go ahead, rent whatever. I mean, they bought a second TV when the first TV I had forever, that was my brother's TV, crapped out. Like, didn't even tell me. Like, one of my Christmas presents one year was like, here's a new TV for you. And it was like, you know, so I mean.
The thing is like, at least parents, like, for the most part, and obviously I'm a dad now, I am actually in the same boat where I just fear. The thing is now what sucks is like socializing is also the internet and gaming and stuff. So like when I say go outside and play with your friends, they're like, Dad, I am playing with my friends. And I'm like,
I'll be honest, that's tricky for me. I'll be honest, my son, 10-year-old, he's on the spectrum. He has high functioning autism. So that really throws a wrench in things between what can I expose him to. Right. I got the situation of, if I like, he gets on something and he just gets attached to it. Right. And then it's like, I come home from work and it's like, oh, Mario Odyssey. And like, literally, I don't have my shoes off.
Right.
Like,
well, I mean.
And then it's like, he wants to play whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm not playing. It's, yeah. It's a little tougher.
Sure.
I got to be careful what I expose them to. I have to be careful what I say. If I get any mature games, that's prime reason we only have a Switch in our house. I mean, I have a Switch. It's all Nintendo products.
Sure.
Thankfully, you don't have to worry about the bring a PlayStation in with stuff because it's not that I don't want to expose him to it. I just have to wait till he's ready.
Yeah. No, and
it's delayed compared to everyone else. So I mean, something that's rated teen, I might have to wait a little later. So
yeah. No, I mean the thing is like, you know. And that's the other thing, too, because back then, parents didn't think games were like that until Mortal Kombat came out.
We didn't have ratings.
Yeah, until Mortal Kombat, and then Mortal Kombat decided to fuck everything up. But no, I mean, you know, the whole thing with my son, he'll want to play games, and you have to judge it based off each kid, right?
Yep.
You have to, because my son will say, can I play this? And thankfully, I'm educated enough to know what's in the game. So some games, I'm like, yeah, I guess. That's cool. Like, real quick, Halo's mature rated. Huh? You're shooting aliens? Yeah. You're shooting aliens. Purple blood comes out of them. I don't find that super terrible. The fact that, like, and I understand that they have, like, things in the ratings now, like, this is mature for X, Y, and Z. But the fact that, like, Halo and Grand Theft Auto are both mature rated, but they're so different. They're so different.
I could not expose my kid to Halo yet.
Right. No, that makes sense.
But, like, yeah, you're right. Grand Theft Auto, like, come on. But
there's certain games that I've, example, like Assassin's Creed. I've told my son he wants to play it so bad. And I've told him, this one, no, only because there are moments where you get straight in a dude's face and you stick a knife up his head. And I'm like,
okay. Yeah,
that's a bit much. But then he'll ask to play certain games, and I'm like, no, you're good. That one's fine. Like, he has to play PUBG, and I'm like, Sure, just don't talk to psychopaths online, please. Thank you. I'd appreciate that. Thankfully now we have technology to block them from doing X, Y, and Z. And
that's the greatest thing Nintendo's done. The app is ridiculous. I can sit there and I can limit his time play.
Yep.
I can do it all from my phone. I can make it shut off. I can make it do this annoying ding until his time limits up.
Right.
If only they would make it to I can assign times per each whatever account.
That's
awesome. But
that's what Xbox has. That's like my son. If my son starts running his mouth and talking shit or not doing his schoolwork, I'm like, all right, cool. You have no Xbox now. Congratulations. Like you can.
Yeah, I do that, and then I got to spend 2 hours with him having a meltdown.
Yeah, no. Well, yeah, I mean, but like I say, like,
but yes,
we're getting to that point now.
You're like, I get it.
The only thing we had back then was I'm going to take away the power cord because I've had friends like we've gone to my buddy's house and all of a sudden he's like, my shit's not turning on, and I'm like, where's your power cord, Mom? And she's like, yeah, you remember that bad report card you got? You ain't got Nintendo. But then, of course, it was just like, all right, well, we'll just go to Jared's house and play because he had one over there. So like, no one cared.
Yeah, yep.
But no, so obviously around Super Nintendo, you, like I said, so like that was all you. Your parents were, for the most part, they basically got you things on Christmas to make you happy, but they were also those types of parents that wanted you to do other things, which I can respect as a dad, because it's like, I want to make my kid happy on Christmas, but also too, I'm like, you really don't need another Nerf gun, like, I get that you have 30 and you want this one. You don't need another one, but I'm only getting it to make you happy. So, so by then, did you have other friends though that like, cause like you said, you had your sleepovers and stuff. Did you go to other people's houses and play pretty consistently with other people, or were you kind of like more playing just games by yourself? Cause obviously your siblings were much older and didn't care at that time.
It was more about myself. I did have times where I'd go to other friends and, play other games, but it really depended on the time. I still I'm probably one of the few people to beat Secret of Mana with 2 other human players where everybody was controlling someone.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, because I had the multi-tap.
There you go.
So that kind of helped things out, having the multi-tap and the 4-score. I mean, even when Super Nintendo was out, we were still playing the old NES games with the 4 players. But, like, it was pretty much more on my own. I'm probably more due to the fact that I grew up in a small town. My best friend from growing up ended up being a jock, even though he was smaller than me.
Okay.
But I remember going and spending the night over at his house. We'd rent something, and it's like I'm still playing something, and he's not.
Gotcha. But yeah, I mean, that's the other thing too. Is like as you start growing up, obviously, people start getting into other things. Like I've said 100 times in the show, there was a period of times where I didn't play games at all because I was loving skateboarding more than anything. Like, I didn't give a shit about any video games besides Tony Hawk Pro Skater that, like, were coming out. I really didn't care. But did you ever, like, because like you said, like, as you started growing up, your friends were not into it as much. Was there a period in time where, as you were growing up, you kind of fell out of it at all?
Semi. Is the best way I can describe it, because I graduated high school in 98, so insert how old I am there. I had I had a Super Nintendo. I never owned an N64. Went to college, but had access to playing, GoldenEye and all that.
You figure if you're in a dorm in
that came out in 96.
Yeah.
I had access, like some access with a couple of my buddies, back in high school. But once I went to college, so it was in that fall 98. So everything was already 2 years old. It was the first time I played like Mario Party 2, GoldenEye, and all that. And Smash, but like I was exposed to that, and I never had it. My roommate had one, I never did. And the next system I actually owned from an SNES was actually PS2.
Oh, okay.
So there was a little bit of a jump there.
Yeah, just a bit. Again, it's funny because we talked about that one era where it's like graphics. You kind of.
I mean, I wanted
awesome
one,
to
but
awesome.
I had access to the one. Why buy it?
Right.
My roommate had one. I can go to the guy down the hall. I didn't need to buy it.
The best part too about, especially you going to college around that time, and specifically 64, being so focused on multiplayer because it had the 4 controller ports.
I thrived off of that in college.
That, like I said, that was like perfect timing because it's like
there wasn't this online. It was all quote couch co-op. It was let's all get together and drink. Well, I was 18. We drink beer.
Allegedly, we've said that on the show 100 times. Allegedly, you didn't. Allegedly,
root beer. I'm talking about root beer. You know?
Yeah, root beer.
No, but,
root beer.
You know, we just. I went to school in Ohio, Northeast Ohio, so it'd be like freshman year of the dorms, and it'd be like, hey, let's all just chip in, buy some tasty beverages, and we'd play Mario Party and GoldenEye and stuff all night on the weekends. Because it's like, why go to the bar and freeze our butts off walking down to it? I mean, you had to be 21 to drink at the bar.
That's right. Yeah,
campus bars.
Exactly. But like, you can have tasty beverages at your dorm without any judgment or nobody can tell you what to do. You're at the dorm, sort of.
Oh, come on. Back then, you could buy two 30 packs for 4 people, and you were good to go.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. But no, like that's. I can imagine like that being just perfect. Like it's like Smash Brothers, college dorm. Done.
And you get back from class, and you'd be walking down the hall with your book bag. It's like, hey, we're getting ready to play some GoldenEye. You want to jump in? Let me throw my book bag in my room. I'll be right back.
Exactly. Like and that's the best. That's awesome. I mean, obviously the internet changed things because now we could all do it from the comfort of our own couches or whatever.
And then when the internet stuff picked in with the PS2, because the PS2 came out in 2000?
Yeah.
It came out like, the fall or winter of 2000.
Right.
I remember I bought it the summer 2001 because I just know I had just moved out of the dorms. I had a house off campus. I stayed there over the summer. I was working 2 jobs, and I started putting $75 back a paycheck between the 2 jobs, and so I saved up. And I remember that summer 2000 when I bought a PS2, and then that's when I started having the online experience and stuff.
So then so with the online and stuff, because I mean that's where obviously it was obviously, I mean Dreamcast had it first, I think.
Technically.
Technically. I mean, there's also internet. I mean, the other thing, too, is PC had it forever. I get it.
Yeah. We're talking consoles.
Anyways.
Technically, computers had it in 1990, if you want to get technical.
Exactly. Anyways, us console people. But no, like, the whole, like, online thing, especially around that generation, because obviously Dreamcast started whatever. PS2
we used to have to buy Ethernet adapters to plug it into the back of our consoles.
But also, too, that was back when... PS2, the network adapter had Ethernet or dial-up if you were...
But it was still the phone cord little plug. Yep. If anybody here remembers when they actually had corded phones plugged in the wall?
Yeah,
it was it was that plug.
Yeah, exactly. You know what's crazy?
I just remember...
It's like...
I started playing it more online a year later when I had to move into another house across the street. When me and my roommates, we all got SOCOM 2. And that's when it really... One of my roommate got SOCOM 2, and then another roommate, I got it, and we're yelling at each other. We had the headsets. You had to buy separate, you have to buy separate headsets now, but you had to get the specific headset. And
Did so with the online? Was that kind of at one point in time? Did that kind of take over the gaming that you were doing? Like, when online happened? Were you more focused on what games you could play with your buddies at that time, or did you still kind of try to dabble in like single player or stuff like that as well?
It was more like, especially in college, it was more the community couch thing. Because even though we were playing online with SOCOM 2, like there was me, another guy across the hall, and we're yelling. Even though we're talking, we're yelling at each other. And also at the same time, I had bought the GameCube when they had that amazing sale. It had already been out for 2 years, and you got like a game and another controller. I remember going Black Friday, got to a Best Buy 2 hours before it opened on Black Friday, and spent $80 and got a GameCube with Wind Waker and a second controller.
Damn, not bad at all.
And then I remember that it was that, and then I had to pay another $10-15 for a memory card.
Yeah, that was the other thing too. Memory cards.
Yes,
that was a rude awakening when we were like,
yes,
what?
It was.
What's a memory card? Those were fun days because I remember. But
it was nice. You can go to somebody else's house and here's all your data.
Exactly. That's where it was really cool. But we just had never gotten to that point with SNES and all that to where we had memory cards. The only thing that was close to memory cards is like, did you write down your password so we can just start back up where it was? But no, memory cards were a blessing and a curse because It was a real big curse
corrupt,
when you
were screwed.
Yeah, exactly. Because if you didn't have one, you were screwed. If you didn't know you needed one when you bought the console, then you go home and go, "Why is my shit not saving?" That was a rude awakening. But then also too, like there was a good and bad, because the good was you can just take it and go to your buddy's house and play your save file with all your characters unlocked and all the stats upgrade. You know what I mean? Like, so that was also really cool too, unless you lost it, which you just want to cry.
I heard that episode.
Yeah, the
your backyard.
episode. Yeah, my friend found it in a mulch pile years later, put that bitch in, and Resident Evil 2 save files were still on there. Good job, Sony. It was not one of those bullshit third-party memory cards that would break if you looked at it wrong. It was an official Sony
I only had a third-party memory card for my GameCube. Dude. I had the Mad Cats.
Yeah, no.
But it wasn't one of those ones that had things, but it was...
Yeah.
I still have it.
So I worked at a video game store around the PS2, GameCube, Xbox, like that era, like that generation was out. And I remember like the memory cards then were fine because like they figured it out. Like there was third party PS2 memory cards that were perfectly fine. GameCube was perfectly fine. But
if you bought one of those ones that had like the thing that had like 10, they called it pages or something. Yeah, you were screwed.
It was so terrible.
Just buy a standard.
But again, when you're a broke kid and you just get enough money and they're like, oh, but this one holds 10 times. We should get this one. And it's $5 cheaper than the one that only holds 1. I wonder why that is. Oh, why? Because it's a piece of shit. Because you get what you pay for.
Yeah, I was old enough to realize there's something sketcy with this shit.
Yeah. I was to the point where I was one of those broke kids that's just like, I need a fucking memory card. What's this one? Yeah. Cool, thanks. And then like... all of a sudden, just like, where'd all my shit go? Oh yeah, this thing decided to just erase everything out of nowhere.
Come on, that's still not as bad as the NES when you put a game in and the screen start flashing.
Well, I mean, at least you could like try to clean it and get it back, but like
but if the screen started flashing and it was like Zelda, if it would flash, the power light would flicker on and off. You'd lose your save data. I had that happen like 3 times.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, like that, but yeah, that memory card.
But it was known then. But to sit there and put your memory card in now and like, where's my shit? Like,
well, yeah, now like, I mean, I remember one of the biggest things I remember was like game changer that obviously everybody went to was when the Xbox had a hard drive in it. I was like, fuck your memory cards for life. This is the best thing ever. Even though they sold memory cards that were just. Nobody gave a shit. Everybody's just like, memory cards. The thing has one built in. And I remember selling like almost no Xbox memory cards. No one gave a shit about that. But dude, I remember that was like, like that first Xbox, first to have Ethernet built in and only Ethernet. So you couldn't have no bullshit dial up. First to have a hard drive built into it. First one that you could like rip CDs to and listen to your own soundtracks. I'm like, dude, they're doing shit. That is crazy. I remember I worked at a game store. And we had an Xbox demo unit that played Burnout 3 all the time. Which, by the way, Burnout 3, fucking amazing game.
Yeah.
But we had this service where people could bring in discs to get them cleaned, right? So, like, we had a scratch remover, professional grade, that fucking worked.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And we had people all the time that would come in, and we used to charge like $1 per disc to clean them. And I remember some people would bring in CDs, and I'm like, if you let me clean this and rip it to that Xbox, I'll clean it for free. And they're like, done. So I used to just clean it for them. And then I'd be like, all right, give me a second. Rip it to the Xbox. So that way when Burnout 3 was playing its custom soundtracks, it would just play whatever music me and my buddies were like wanting. I was like, Xbox, you're the real MVP. This shit is awesome. I could just like play and again, it was on a video game. So nobody could be like, what are you doing? It was on a video game. It was custom soundtracks. I'm like, dude, this is the future. This is so good. So then like I said, so online gaming, obviously like that was a big deal and everything. Are you still like that today? Do you like, obviously I know like you have less time now, but do you still have any sort of like hard ties to doing any online games with buddies?
With the online communities, on Facebook and stuff, I'll be honest, it's the podcast community, to be honest, because, I never listened to podcasts until probably maybe 3-4 years ago. I had a situation where, for the last company I worked for, I had to drive around a lot. Not that I don't now. And I had to drive a personal vehicle. I was driving a 98 Jeep Cherokee.
Okay.
That I bought for $3,000. When I originally bought it, it had under 100,000 miles, and it had 100. When I got rid of it last year, it had a lot more than that. But anyhow, the radio stations quit working out. Something with the aerial. when it comes to like radio, I don't know that stuff. I can do basic maintenance, but like, so I had an iPhone at this point, and I was like podcasts. I started downloading podcasts, and this is, put it this way, actually, it was not that long ago, because this is when the rumors of the NX were coming out.
Oh shit, the NX.
Yeah.
Before I got an official last name, NX.
The rumors were out is when I started getting into them, and so the first two podcasts I ever downloaded were NVC and the Nintendo Dads. And so I call Nintendo Dads my gateway.
There you go.
Because even though there was other stuff too that I found, like, you know, just whether it was sports related or whatever, but the ones that I've really stuck to since then, it's a lot of the indie stuff. I still listen to NBC, but Nintendo Dads was my gateway, where I learned about, like, you know, some of the stuff that Sean Capri was doing. Mm-hmm. The big one, to be honest, is Bobby Paul's, the Nintendo Guru. When he was the geek. This was back when he was the Geek Guru.
Right.
There was something I got into back then called This Nintendo Life, but I don't do too much because they're all like 2.5 hours long. But like, I used to have to drive like 4 or 5 hours a day because I was inspecting properties, driving all over like Western New York. But like, but then probably in the last year and a half, I was in the Facebook groups and stuff, and I started getting more involved.
Right.
And actually replying or emailing the shows and stuff. And as time went along, it just, you know, that whole little community pops up, and you start, you know, hey, let's play some Splatoon. Okay, we're playing Splatoon at 9 o'clock tonight. All right, let's go. Let's play. You know, let's jump on.
Right.
Stuff like that. So,
that's cool. Yeah, because I mean, now it's like, it sucks because now it's like you have to coordinate with your buddies, which, of course, family stuff happens. So then it's like,
yes.
All right, dude, we're going to play PUBG tonight. Everybody's going to be on. And then it's like, oh, shit. My girl wants to watch The Bachelor. I'll be on in like an hour.
If I can be there, I'll be there. If I can't,
exactly.
tough shit.
Yeah, so, I mean, that happens and everything from time to time. But, I mean, like, now, you know, what's funny is now that's how I hang out with my friends, is playing games, because the likelihood of us getting together to go do something doesn't happen often. So, like, my friend Jared is the only guy I still talk to from Illinois on a regular basis, because we played Halo 5, because we play PUBG now, because, you know, I literally, if I wasn't playing games with him, I don't see myself calling the dude or talking to him on the phone or messaging him on a regular basis. And
one of the coolest things, like, my friends here don't play games, so, like, you know, that's when I have my real world experiences.
Right.
But, like, my old roommate from college, Brad, like, out of the blue, like, we were friends on Facebook, and all of a sudden, it's like, hey, what's your number? And after Zelda came out, like, I don't remember if he messaged me or I texted him, and it was like, we started calling each other, and all of a sudden, I hadn't talked in years, because he had went into the Air Force and stuff, and, like, we started talking again, and it was just, like, really cool, because it's like, yeah, I found this, and you got to realize, like, I'm a gamer, but he's a gamer. He at one point set the record for beating Ocarina of Time without cheats, but because he last played it on an emulator, it technically didn't count.
Yeah, those are those weird speed rules.
Whatever that, but right. Like, yeah, but like, it's ridiculous. He was telling me with his kids, how great they have it, because he started playing Ocarina of Time on the 3DS because of the part, if anyone remembers the Target thing where you can get the heart when you're in the Gerudo village, because he could sit there on that N64 controller when you just had a stick, and I remember watching him in college, and he'd just nail it.
And then in amazement.
Then you go to the 3DS, you get that little bit of motion controls to fine tune. He's like, holy shit, this is so easy.
Right.
But like, but I don't know. It's in terms of gaming, like right now, like I said, I don't know if I said on here, but rest of my family has beat Mario Odyssey. My 10-year-old has, my wife has, I have not. Anymore, I might play some, you know, if I play something with the kids, I'll play some Mario Kart. But it's like, maybe jump on, I can play Splatoon, you can jump in, do 3 rounds, you know, you're out 10 minutes, whatever.
Yeah, that's the other thing too now, is because like certain games, I will play online with my friends because I'm like, yeah, I got 5 minutes, let's go. Like, I can get Rocket League. Fuck, Rocket League.
I just started playing that for the first time a couple months ago. When it came to the Switch, I'll be honest, that's so much fun. I'm like, where was this when I was growing up?
Yeah, exactly. Like Rocket League got to a point where it's like a quick 5-minute game, but also too, like it's funny because if you play with buddies doing audio chat, you will scream at each other like no one, like it's like we're playing real.
I'm playing on Switch. I don't have audio chat. What are you talking?
I'm sorry.
Unless
I
use Discord.
Yeah. Dude, by the way, Nintendo, get your shit together for the love of God.
I hope with this new online stuff, they have it as simple. They fix the voice chat. Even if you just have to play in handheld and plug a damn set of earbuds in the console, please.
The worst thing in the world was Smash Brothers and Mario Kart on Wii U had voice chat. However, it was only voice chat in the lobby. And I'm like,
yep.
What in the fuck? I'm like,
and nobody ever really used it.
Well, no, the worst part is you do a match and then you want to shit talk to your buddy because you want to tell him how much he sucks or he wants to tell you how much you suck. The problem is you want to do that in the middle of a game. You don't want to wait until the end and go, dude, man, you fucked up that corner, man. Like, no one wants to say that. Like, I remember talking and I literally was like, what am I? I'm like, Mike, why can't I hear you? He's like, oh, you can only do it in the lobby. I'm like, fucking turn on your Xbox. We're doing voice chat there. This is stupid.
I didn't realize it had it in the lobby until like a year or two later.
Yeah, it's so bad. I'm like, why is it only in the lobby? But whatever. Hopefully Nintendo will get their shit together. It'll be okay.
Please.
So obviously gaming stuck with you. You continued down the road with past PlayStation. So did you get back on the Nintendo train then? Like, and just kind of...
Yeah, after I had the PS2 and the GameCube, I mean, because we'd play SOCOM and then my roommates and stuff, we'd get drunk and play Mario Party and...
Of course.
Like the Toadstool Tour, Mario Golf, which is phenomenal.
Such a good game.
It's great when you've been drinking.
Of course.
Just stuff like the co-op stuff, that community when you're all, let's have some beers and then you have someone switch out. If, hey, I need to play around, someone switch out. But like stuff like that. And then I eventually got a Wii. I had that. And after I met my wife, I had a GameCube when I met her. So... and I knew we were meant to be when she bought me Mario Party 6 and Double Dash.
There you go. Yeah, right. That's always a good thing too.
And she's not a gamer.
She just liked those games.
She just knew I played it was one of the previous Mario Party, and she enjoyed playing it with me. And then she knew I liked it.
I know that's always the best thing is like when your spouse or significant other, whatever, is into games as much as you are, because like. I met my wife.
She's still not.
Yeah, exactly. Like my wife, her brother, my brother-in-law owned his own video game store. Like,
oh wow.
Yeah. So she was into gaming, but she wasn't as big into gaming. For example, like, she was into Diablo hardcore. Like she played.
Really?
Yes, she played the shit out of Diablo to the point where when Diablo 3 was coming out, she's like, "We are absolutely buying that and playing it." I'm like, "Yeah, cool." The only problem is like that was the only game she wanted to play. So now we're again, not shitting on Diablo 3. It's a fantastic game. When you beat it for the 5th time, you're like, cool, we got to find some other shit to play because I can't do this again. But now she's starting to get, explore different things and stuff. I know a buddy of mine whose girl, when I remember first meeting her, because I met her before I met him, she didn't play. I don't remember her mentioning playing games ever. Now she's so into gaming because of him. And it's cool because, like I said, when you have that common ground with, like I said, even though your wife isn't a gamer, quote unquote, she still enjoys playing games with you, depending on the game, of course. Because my wife, if I asked my wife to play Gears of War, she'd be like, get the fuck out of here. I'm not playing that with you.
I can either play Mario Kart.
Yeah, no.
I remember I had the GameCube. She started, I had Animal Crossing.
Yep.
And then, I come home one time from class, and I'm like, oh, there's someone in my town. And it was one of the situations. So.
That's awesome. That's really cool. It's cool, though, that your wife, like I said, so your wife is not as into gaming as you are, but at least still encourages you to play and plays with you and stuff. So then did she ever influence anything? Like, did you ever get to a point where you started buying games to help make sure, she would play games with you at the same time?
Well, yeah. I mean, with some of the Mario parties and stuff like that. Because I remember the one I was talking about she got, but, once we got the Wii, it was a little easier because, insert stereotype, Wii Sports, and Mario. I would have bought it without her, like Mario Galaxy and stuff like that.
Right.
Once it eventually came out, and the Mario Kart Wii. But now it's this little. Once you get, then once we started having kids, it was like.
Yeah, I mean that's where a difference is.
It kind of balances out.
Exactly. Like the funny thing is like, I made a poor life decision when I got a Wii over a 360. At the time I was playing so much Xbox with my buddies. Like we were playing Halo 2 every fucking night. We were playing all these awesome Xbox games online all the time. And then when 360 came out, it was too expensive for me at the time, and I was just like, no, I'm good. And then of course the Wii came out and the motion controls and all that shit intrigued me. And then my wife is really big into like WarioWare and shit like that. So I was like, hey guys, I'm going to get a Wii instead of a 360. And my friends are like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like we need
Were they married?
No. So they didn't understand. I was. But I was like, guys, but WarioWare is coming out and Zelda and like all this. And they're like, dude, Gears of War is out and it's fantastic. And I'd love to play it online with you. But you're going to buy a Wii instead of a 360? I was like, yeah.
Zelda.
and yeah, so then I got a Wii, but that was when Nintendo was really shitting the bed with first party stuff and like,
yeah,
I mean, they were like, hey, everybody likes Wii Fit, right? I'm like, I don't want to fucking exercise. I want to play some good games. Like, I don't want to do this shit.
I have Wii Fit.
Yeah, but then I got a 360, and then that's when that online part of it came back, and I was like, God, I miss this. Gotta miss this. And I was like, I could have been playing Gears of War for so much longer right now. What am I fucking doing? But yeah, I mean, overall though, the Wii, it was fun, but also too, like I said, I just felt the lack of like first party.
We all know the Wii was for the general populace.
It was. Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, like I said, Grandma and Grandpa were loving their Wii tennis at the retirement home where I was.
I can still get my parents to play Wii bowling on the Wii U.
Yeah. I mean, it was for everybody. Got everybody excited. So, obviously, you were talking earlier. You kind of migrated to the Wii U. So you haven't had like 360, PS3.
Nope.
Nothing. Got it.
No. After the Wii, and I mean, my PS2 crapped out eventually.
Sure.
I've been Nintendo ever since.
Gotcha.
And maybe probably because when I had the Wii, I mean, I didn't get the Wii U till it was 3 years, so halfway through its life cycle.
Right. But also, too, that console was, like, even worse with third-party support. Like, that's where I was
definitely.
Like, Jesus Christ.
But the same time, I didn't have the free time to play.
Exactly. So you weren't as... See, the good thing about Switch, at least, is it's getting that third-party support, which is awesome.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
It's getting the indie support, because EA still giving them... I'm not going to get into that conversation.
EA doesn't give a fuck about that console, but it's all right. And maybe they will when they that thing.
Well, now that they see it out, it's sold 13 million. It's already outsold the Wii U, and it's only been out for.
It's not even a year, and it's already sold the entire life cycle of the Wii U. Yeah. That's crazy.
That's nuts.
But it deserves it. It's a really nice console. But what I was going to say is like. Dude, when I saw Wolfenstein and Doom were coming out on Switch, I was like,
I know.
Get the fuck out of here.
I don't know if I'm going to get them. I'm not a big first-person shooter guy, but I'm like...
Wolfenstein 2,
I'll check them out. The libraries around here are starting to get Switch games, so it's like, especially something that's mature rated, it's easier for me to do that way.
Yeah, real quick, Wolfenstein 2 is fucking phenomenal. It's so cool.
I remember, I'm so old, I remember the Castle Wolfenstein.
Yeah. No, like, Wolfenstein 2... It's so mature rated, like
look at it had a Red Band trailer. I saw the Red Band trailer, and once I saw that, I was like, okay,
it's but the story, like, that's another game that, like, there are characters from that game I will never forget in gaming. They're just insane, and but the story's good, the gameplay's good. Obviously, the one thing that Switch is gonna lag behind is graphics, just because, like. Of course, it won't look as good as my Xbox One X does. Obviously. However, Wolfenstein 2...
You can play it on the crapper.
Exactly. That's the difference. But again, like, it's not about graphics, but like that, I'm just very happy to see that Bethesda, especially Bethesda, gives a big shit about the Switch, because they're like really putting stuff into it, which is really good. But if you get a chance to like rent Wolfenstein and just make sure your kids don't see it ever. Dude, don't ever let them see it. Like, there's scenes in that game that I'm literally just like, wow, that's in a video game. All right, then. I'll tell you off air, because there's like, It's pretty cool though. But there's a couple of like holy shit moments. Like when somebody's like, I got to that oh shit moment in that game, you have to ask which one, because there's a bunch.
Oh, okay.
There's a bunch. You're like, oh shit, that's kind of crazy. So obviously now, if people wanted to check you out, obviously I met you on Twitter, so feel free to promote that, and I will get your Switch friend code and put it in the show notes, because nobody knows that shit off the top of their head. So if people want to follow you on Twitter, where do they go?
I'll get that to you. It's probably tomorrow.
Yeah,
so, you can find me on Twitter. It's at SkinnyMattK. Simple enough. I originally at one point was doing a vlog on YouTube that but I couldn't do it as regular, and honestly, there's like 6 episodes, and when trying to move everything to Twitch and rebrand, instead of deleting the email, I deleted my entire Google account. But if you're interested, I have one whole video up on Twitch. It's skinny_Matt, so you can find that there. The vlog has been moved there. If I can ever get a chance to do another one, they will be there from now on. But
otherwise, you can follow him on Twitter, where he's very active in all of the different types.
A little more active in there. You can find me if you're on Facebook. You can find me in the with my real name. It's actually Matt Knight, but I'm in the indie podcast group, Nintendo Gurus, a lot of the Nintendo stuff, obviously Megadad, stuff like that. But Megadad's more of the stuff's on Twitter anyway. So.
There you go. Well, dude, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for talking about all of your stories. Thank you for remembering that arcades were awesome, because a lot of people forget about arcades, so I appreciate that. And thanks for being on the show, man.
Yeah, Stranger Things doesn't explain how arcades really were, but thank you very much thanks for having me on.
All right, and again, thank you, Matt, for being on the show. If you guys want to check him out on Twitter, he is at SkinnyMattK, all one word, no underscores, because nobody likes an underscore, right? Sorry, Nick Scarpino. If you guys want to be on the show just like he was, go ahead and send me a tweet at MitchPower1116 on Twitter, or at the podcast Twitter page, which is at GUG Podcast on Twitter. Again, I also have a website, GUGpodcast.com, and I also have a Facebook group, which is Growing Up Gaming. So if you just search that on Facebook, you'll find it. A lot of the people in there are just guests that have been on the show before, but it's cool to still share everybody's stories and stuff and reminisce about all of our previous episodes and, fun things that each other have mentioned to jog other memories that the other people have. So, again, thank you guys so much for listening each week. Hopefully you subscribe on iTunes or Google Play. Leave me a review on iTunes if you think I suck. I'll be better. And then, share it with a buddy. Hopefully they'll want to be on the show as well, so I can get as many people as possible. Again, thank you guys for listening, and I'll catch you guys next week. See ya.